Nick Saban retires from football. He retired as the Alabama head coach. He was coaching them, I believe, for 17 years. He's also coached a bunch of different places, but he's won 7 national championships. I think 6 with Alabama, 1 with LSU. Nick Saban will go down as one of not only the greatest college football coaches, but one of the greatest coaches in sports history. I started this episode talking about change. I started this episode talking about how life improves on itself as it continues to go. Nick Saban is the pure definition of, if you want to maintain greatness, you're going to have to improve on the product. Doesn't mean you have to necessarily change the format, change the base, but you do have to improve on the product. We talk about players a lot, and the saying is sports keeps going. When we say sports keeps going, usually that's, for lack of a better term, a negative connotation, because usually when that statement is made, we're talking about a player that maybe thinks he's bigger than a sport. We're talking about a player that maybe thinks he is more important than a team. And the statement usually after that is sports keeps going. But when I hear that statement, yes, it is a true statement. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's something different. And I hear something completely different. I don't hear it in such a negative way. What I hear is sports continues to evolve. Again, we talked about it in the beginning. Players are better. Equipment's better. People are faster, stronger, more skilled. And on top of all that, coaches have. If you don't want to get left behind in life, in the world, in sports, you're going to have to evolve. I'm sure the Nick Saban that was the head coach of the Michigan State Spartans back in 1995 to 1999 is drastically different than the Alabama coach, the one that won 6 national championships, or the LSU coach. Hell, I'm sure the LSU Nick Saban is drastically different than the Nick Saban that coached Alabama. You see, 7 championships does that to you. That's a way that you can tell if somebody has evolved or not. Outside of longevity, what have you done in that span? Nick Saban is, I think, the one of, if not the winningest coach in college football history. You see, you hear a lot of when you talk about great coaches, you hear a lot of similar traits. Doesn't really tolerate much disorder. Very detailed. Most of his players would run through a wall for them. There are traits that most winning coaches, especially coaches that have won multiple times, have. And a lot of that stems from the success of Nick Saban. College football will never be the same without Nick Saban. I'm not saying that it's over. I'm obviously not saying that it's going to completely stop. I'm not saying that there aren't good coaches in college football, but what I'm saying is the retirement of Nick Saban is the end of an era. And that kind of brings me to why Nick Saban is retiring now. All we've heard for the last few years now is how much of a dire situation college football is in, and how college football is a mess. You hear that a lot. College football is a mess. What does that mean? I will first say that I am, and I've been like this for a while. Obviously, I've said it on this podcast. I've said it off the podcast. I've said it on other people's podcasts. I am all for NIL. I am all for players getting paid for their services. If you can pay professionals and you can pay people that bring revenue to your company or your team, they should be able to get some of the profit because they are bringing you money. So I am all for the NIL and players getting paid what they deserve, but I also understand that it needs to be regulated the right way. And I don't know if it is. Hell, we just saw Florida State get in trouble for recruiting players with NIL deals or NIL deal promises. And on top of NIL, you have the transfer portal. We talked about that a couple episodes ago when we were talking about how the transfer portal and when the transfer portal opens affects bowl season. One thing that doesn't get discussed a lot when we talk about life and movement and sports continuing and sports growing is players have to grow with it, but so do coaches. And there are some coaches that are tired. And there are some coaches that see what's going on. And may just not have the energy to do it anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. You look at college football, coaching in general is a young person's game. And what I mean by that is coaching takes a lot. Now, obviously, I'm not a coach. Let me be personal for a second. People ask me why I don't coach. You know, I play basketball. I've played basketball probably since I was 5. I played high school, middle school, college. I play almost every week at my job. And people ask, Jalen, why you don't coach? You know, you have a podcast. You know a lot about basketball. Why don't you teach the youth what you know? Because you know what they say, people that don't do coach. And it's simple for me. Not only do I not have the time, but I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience to deal with me teaching you something, me telling you what to do, and you going out and not just not executing, but not doing what I say. I will bench you. That's me. Because I know, especially at a lower level, I know what it takes to win. And I don't have the patience for that. I don't have the patience for trash. And you need patience as a coach. I don't have the amount of patience that you need. I don't have the patience to deal with moms and dads talking about, why didn't you play my son? Bro, did you not see your son airball twice? Did you not see your son hit the side of the rim? Or the side of the backboard. I don't have that type of patience, which is why I'm not a coach. Imagine dealing with that. Imagine dealing with that to a whole nother degree. You have to deal with kids that, first of all, recruiting. When we talk about college coaches, first of all, recruiting. You have to go to people's houses and go to and have conversations with people almost year round to try to get them to come to your school. Then when you get them to come to your school, some people have good intentions, some people don't. Most people have that dream and the aspiration to make it further than college, whether that's the NFL, whether that's the NBA, whether that's MLB. They want to go professional. So sometimes you have to be honest with some people, like, yo, I don't know if that's for you. And some people can't take honesty well. Then you have NIL, which now some players, and again, we're talking about Nick Saban, who has been a head coach probably since 1990. But he's been in the coaching realm since 1973. So you have Nick Saban, who is all about team and all about structure. But you have kids these days that, not all of them obviously, but a lot of them only care about how much money I'm going to make and how I'm going to get to the next level. So it takes away the feel of the game, the formula of the game. College football is a mess right now because they don't have a leader. They don't have a president. They don't have a commissioner like Adam Silver, like Roger Goodell. College football doesn't have that. College sports, I don't think, has that. Now, every conference has a president, I believe, but they don't have a governing body. So it's like a crapshoot, which is why you see high-level athletes just completely skip out on bowl games because they want to go to they put themselves in the transfer portal. Or you have athletes saying, where am I going to make the most NIL deals? So NIL deals are now shaping recruiting and now shaping which school you go to and how much playing time you get. You see, I do understand the benefits of NIL, but I also understand the issues that it could cause players and issues that it could cause coaches and could cause programs. I see that. Don't you think Nick Saban sees that? And he was in the crux of it. And Nick Saban was very vocal on his disdain for NIL, not because he doesn't feel these players should get paid, but he understood what it can do to a program. And now when you look at college sport or college football, it's a mess. And like we've always said, or like we just said in this episode, sometimes you just don't want to do it. Sometimes you see the light at the tunnel, or you see the light at the end, and it's not exactly what you want it to be. So you just get off the train. And there's nothing wrong with that. Oh man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.